The Brooklyn Nets? More like the Shooklyn Nets. Nearly 2 weeks into the 2022-2023 campaign, the star-studded Nets look like an abject disaster, with one of the worst records in the NBA, equally damning underlying metrics, and a superstar embroiled in controversy for the umpteenth time in his career. That dysfunction just cost head coach Steve Nash his job, but let's take a deeper look at what exactly has plagued the Nets early on this season. Sit back, relax, and take this in. Following a tumultuous, transformative 2021-2022 campaign and a tense offseason, the Nets ultimately came out on the other side as one of the NBA's most tantalizing teams heading into 2022-2023. They still had their linchpin, Kevin Durant, whom they decided not to deal in the offseason after months of fevered trade speculation.
I'm not leaving.
Meanwhile, their other star, Kyrie Irving, was poised to be a regular contributor after appearing in only 29 games a year ago after refusing to get the COVID-19 vaccine. And Ben Simmons, the beleaguered point guard who came over in last season's James Harden blockbuster, was finally ready to return to action after missing all of 2021-2022.
He's back!
All the preceding drama notwithstanding, the Nets look poised to contend in an increasingly wide-open Eastern Conference. Brooklyn actually came into the season with better championship odds than every team in the NBA except for the Boston Celtics, Golden State Warriors, Milwaukee Bucks, and Los Angeles Clippers. Well, cut to November, and the Nets sure don't look like a threat to hoist the Larry O.B. Granted, we're only 2 weeks into the season, but they don't even look respectable. Despite the outsized efforts of Durant and Irving, who are both averaging more than 30 points a night on better than 58% true shooting, Brooklyn finds themselves in the Eastern Conference basement and sitting in the bottom 5 in the NBA in a dizzying number of key metrics, including net rating and expected wins. Nash, their head coach since 2020, ultimately paid the price for Brooklyn's 2-5 start, but time will tell if a new bench boss can fix the Nets' biggest problem, defense. Through October 30th, the Nets sat dead last in the NBA in virtually every meaningful defensive statistic. Points allowed per game? Last. Defensive rating? Last. Defensive rebound percentage? I think it was last. Even with Durant and Irving out on the floor together, the Nets have still been outscored. Do you know how bad you have to be defensively to get outscored with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving out on the floor together? They're both in the top 10 in the NBA in points. But it's not just the defense that's been subpar early on. As electrifying as Durant and Irving have been on the attacking end, the Nets' offense has been middling overall, sitting in the bottom half of the NBA in offensive rating thanks to the overwhelmingly meh performances from the rest of the roster. As of this writing, nobody not named Durant or Irving on Brooklyn's roster is averaging even a dozen points per game. Simmons, an ostensible core piece, has yet to record double-digit points in a game this year, despite playing almost 32 minutes a night, while Royce O'Neal, another starter, is shooting an atrocious 37% from the field so far. As a team, the Nets are in the bottom half of the league in three-point shooting and the bottom third of the NBA in scoring at the rim. Put that all together and you've got yourself one miserable start to the season. Things have been so ugly, in fact, that one of Nash's last acts as head coach was publicly calling his team out, describing a recent performance as a disaster and questioning his team's will and desire, specifically on the defensive end. And to add insult to injury, in the midst of his team's rough start, Irving compounded the Nets' mounting woes by plunging himself into yet another controversy of his own making.
Very surprising.
This time, Irving found himself in hot water for promoting a movie and book littered with anti-Semitic tropes on his Twitter page, a move that was widely condemned, including by the Anti-Defamation League and Nets owner Joe Tsai. When questioned about it, Irving was defiant, saying he wasn't going to back down about something he believed in. Eventually, however, amid mounting backlash and the specter of punishment from the NBA, Irving deleted the tweet. When it rains, it pours, as they say. But, in this writer's opinion, Brooklyn is better than their record shows, and there are reasons to believe they can still contend in the East.
You sure about that?
For starters, their schedule thus far has been a doozy, one of the toughest in the conference. They also just welcomed back Seth Curry, which should bolster their lackluster offense, and while Simmons hasn't looked right on either end of the floor since returning from his hiatus, he is a 3-time All-Star and 2-time All-Defensive First-Team nominee. With a bit more time to reacclimate, he could start to more closely resemble the impact player he used to be. This team, it seems, has the top-end talent championship contenders need, even if one of those superstars is a shameless and incorrigible purveyor of conspiracy theories. And perhaps a new head coach can do a better job of harnessing their talent and mitigating weak spots on defense. Having said that though, even with Durant and Irving at the top of their games early on, the Nets have still been lousy. And between their struggles on the court and Irving's all-consuming obnoxiousness off of it, it's getting easier and easier to understand why Durant asked for a trade this past offseason. Again, it's not too late to right the ship, the calendar only just flipped to November, but the Nets' struggles out of the gate, against the backdrop of prolonged dysfunction within the organization, certainly don't bode well for a team that, in spite of themselves, came into the season with high hopes. But what say you? Can the Nets get back on track and make something out of their season? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. As always, we appreciate you. We'll see you next time.